Hello and welcome to episode 46 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough, cycle 82, day 1. Last time we put in some of these other food production, refinement type areas for all of our crops that don't need canola oil, fermented mushrooms, and then if we go down a little bit, we also have fermented cassava. And then on this side, we've got everything we need to make fermented soybeans, including the oil presses to take care of all of that stuff. And we now have a whole bunch, and I mean a whole bunch of water pumps. And it is day 1 of a fresh temperate cycle, so we do have some nice clean water coming in from the bottom up, courtesy of our inflow here, which is of course keeping our mangrove trees nice and irrigated and filling our reservoir, again, like I said, from the bottom up. Which is all well and good. Except it does mean that our pumps can't really do too much until the water is up over this ledge here, and that of course does just take some time. So we're going to get this on triple speed and let this keep coming in and get right on to it. So now the water is just barely high enough to allow these things to start working. Of course, it is the middle of the night, despite it being completely bright outside, because I've turned the daytime, nighttime changing thing off, but the beavers are actually sleeping. We'll see them wake up, and then these pumps will start to operate very shortly. Our goal here, today at least, is to continue getting all of our food stuff set up, move things around, try to find ways to somewhat artfully create some efficient layout for food distribution and refinement of all these different things. And that, of course, is a huge task. But I've been very pleased with the amount of work that we've been able to do these past couple episodes, despite the series being a little long in the tooth and maybe not going quite as fast as a lot of us would prefer. I think we're still in very good shape. So I don't really have a whole lot of concrete goals aside from just do more stuff, make it work. We do have this earth repopulator that is in the middle of being built, but we aren't really producing enough gears. So what I'm going to do, for the sake of building everything else, I'm going to hit pause on this so we don't divert all of our resources. We do have a whole lot of planks. We don't have a whole lot of gears. And I'm content, honestly, to just let them, whatever verb you choose to make gears, just apply that in your head, because I forgot what it is. And I'm just going to let them do what they got to do, and we'll move on. I think as far as water pumping goes, we don't need anything else, but I do see you guys calling for some additional pumps here. We can fit 4 without really modifying too much of anything else. Those would go in. Oh, I still have some stuff to explode. But 1 would go here, and 1 would go here, and then I guess I technically do have some room for 1 more. I guess I could put 3. But for now, considering everything, I don't think we need to worry about it quite yet. But we do need to keep filling our water storage. As a reminder, our total number of water stored for a complete 30-day drought or bad tide is going to need to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000, I believe, is what the math worked out to. So yeah, we need 2,122 water per day. So for a complete 30-day cycle, as a drought or a bad tide, that does come out to substantially less than 100,000. But keep in mind, we can only pump for a maximum of 9 days during a temperate cycle. And 9 days is not going to be enough time for us to actually pump all of that water, assuming all else equal, as far as whatever math has been done on my behalf or that I've done myself seems to suggest that we should have about 100,000. Just to make sure we can get through an entire cycle, which was the whole point of the 1,000 Beaver Challenge in the first place. So, things that we still need to do food-wise for today. Like I said, we have fermented mushrooms, fermented cassava, fermented soybeans, essentially all taken care of. I know they're still working on building these oil presses. That's part of the reason why I paused this, so we could actually use the gears that need to go in there. So that's 3 of our food items taken care of. We take a look at the rest of the things. We have not even planted any kohlrabis at all. But those don't have to be processed, so that's fine. We just have to have a whole bunch of those. The number that was given to me on that is 675 crops. Mangrove fruits, currently we have enough for our 373 beavers. Just about. But we want to have 1,000 beavers, so we do still need to build that second level of the mangrove farm if we feel like it's going to be necessary. Fermented cassavas, soybeans are all good. Fermented mushrooms, we have to build the actual hydroponic farms. We have the stuff to process them, and that's fine. That's all well and good, but we need to build all of those farms. And I talked about this last episode a little bit, but we have to make 40 hydroponic farms. And I don't have enough beavers to run all this stuff yet, so we do need to keep getting the population higher and higher. But the higher the population grows, the more food and especially the more water we have to constantly dish out to keep these beavers alive. So I'd really like to, get this number as high as possible before we get too crazy with stuff. As far as algae rations go, which is the only other thing not represented here, that's 26 hydroponic farms. So again, a total of 66 hydroponic farms. And as far as where to place those, I think honestly it's probably going to make the most sense to have those up here at the very top, just kind of encircling things. It doesn't have to be all the way on the ground, because remember, we do still have all these recreation facilities we have to deal with. And especially the Motivatoriums, indoctrination stations, whatever you want to call them, they have to go on the actual dirt. So I'm thinking some sort of space in this general area would make a whole lot of sense. We can put the power shafts on the ground, and we can actually use these to convey power along this whole mess here on this side. We could do the same thing on the other side as well. I haven't run the numbers on how many of these we'd actually need to have, but each one of them can have 18 visitors, and the effect should last for some number of days. But we're going to have to maybe do a little bit more thinking about that. If anybody in the comments knows, please do tell me. But we are going to start slowly getting into stuff like this. But just keep in mind, they require gears. Yes, we need to make more gears. I know. We'll get there. But outside of that, requiring power, we have the mud baths, which that's 50 HP each. Our power situation right now is pretty good, because we aren't really making a whole lot of stuff industrially, and I know we need to. We will get there. Rest assured, it's not going to be that big of an issue. So what I'm going to do right here, because we already have all these planks. The only reason we're really using a ton of planks anyway is because I was building all these platforms that I probably could have replaced with overhangs. You know how it goes. I'm going to turn these two into gear workshops. Let's actually prioritize these. Make sure these guys can get to work on that. It's only going to help us to have more and more gears. And it's one gear every 3 hours. It's all we can do, really, to just make sure this is going to actually be functional. So, going back a little bit to what I said earlier, we can kind of kill two birds with one stone. If we start building Motivatoriums, if I put one, say, here, so we don't block the thing, one here, and then I'm going to have to not put another one here because I can't get this land to go up unless I build some weird supports, which, hey, we absolutely could. There's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball, right? So people who have not been watching forever are going to be so confused. But I think I can put 3 of these on one side here, obviously touching the ground. Assuming they don't have to have the 2-block thick dirt. We're going to find out. Now, but my thought was, on top of those, and we kind of done this before in one of the live stream playthroughs, I can have overhangs, cover the top of them, and then on top of those, we can do some of this stuff like putting in hydroponic gardens, and we can maybe do a little bit more well-being stuff. So we're going to see what we can get ourselves into. This power shaft right here is currently powering all of this and all of this. So it's not really a situation where it's going to be bad if we unplug stuff because we have 13,000 food. We just have to make sure stuff gets rebuilt in a timely fashion. So let's give ourselves a fighting chance here. I'm going to make sure that I can safely remove all of these paths, especially the ones underneath this. So if we very carefully select only the paths, right, like so. I'm going to take this out as well, but I'm not going to get rid of that one because I don't need to worry about it. Just for a refresher on how far out this comes when we have this in the right spot. That path is in the perfect location, and we do need to keep a 7x7 space clear here so we can put another one of these earth repopulators. Remember, we said we're going to have one at every corner. So what I'm going to do now, take this out of turbo speed, just make it a little easier on ourselves. I'm going to take this all out here. to about there. And, of course, that's going to unplug everything. Not that big of a deal. Now we need to start placing in Motivatoriums. And, yes, the power is currently up above things. So, depending on how we want to route this, I can't really go underneath because this is a 1 block thick thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to offset this one more tile. That's just going to be the easiest way to do it. And then all we will have to do is have a vertical power shaft here. And then that goes in right like that. The space right alongside this is prime territory to have something useful like a scratcher. I don't know how many of those we have. I know at one point I had a bunch of them. Oh yeah, we could definitely put some more in. So why don't I put in just 3 of those there. And then right here on the corner, because remember, all the beavers are going to be walking past this. It's not going to be a big deal. Oh, I still have the choo-choo mod enabled. We're not building it on this, don't worry. That was from the other playthrough the other day. I have so many mods. Why don't we just have one of these braziers here? That would be very nice on the corner. And then I'm going to demonstrate exactly what I was talking about with our overhangs here. I think all I have to do is have a double overhang. And then I can put the 6 by... Yeah. Yeah, so that's just going to be right like that. We're going to have 3 spaces above that. And since this is a 6 by 1, this is technically wide enough for us to have 2 deep on these hydroponic gardens, but we need to have access with a path. So it may end up being a scenario where we just have 1 deep up against the side of the reservoir, and then we have some 2 by 3, the medium warehouses on the other side. It's really not that big of a deal if they're not super super efficient. I'd rather personally just have stuff that works, if you feel me on that. So, oh, I left so many mods turned on that I didn't need to have turned on. Oh, that's a damn decoration. Okay, well we're not gonna worry too much about all that stuff. I'm just for right now to demonstrate what we're actually doing. Put that in. Let them get started with all this. And then right on the top here, hydroponic garden. And then we'll have to have other stuff where it needs to go. But considering we have a ladder already here, I just think it's so easy for us to take a couple more of these. Oh, we got extra metal overhangs. Oh, I have to be good and not use these. I have to be good and not use those. If we do one of these numbers, all we're going to have to do is just bring this out to right about here. Come through this way. And then give us a hydroponic garden here and a hydroponic garden here. And yes, it does hide this stuff, but hey, indoctrination, propaganda, etc., done in the shadows anyway. So there you go. Now it's under. now it's in the shade here. So we're gonna let them continue working on all this stuff, but keep in mind we do still need to have everything connected here, and I do kind of want to have all of this dirt in the correct spot where it is supposed to be. So this is going to be a good opportunity for us to kind of slightly modify how some of this stuff is set up. I think for now, we can just go ahead and put in something like this, and then I can take these bridges out, make sure that we can put another one of these in, just keep on going as best as we can. The other benefit to doing things this way is if we decide that we want to power this on this side from below, then it's going to be pretty easy before we have everything else completely set up that way. They certainly have a whole lot of stuff to do. Let's get that on triple speed. I know there's a very little appetite to see a whole bunch of repetitive stuff in episode 46, so I'm going to try my best not to burden you guys with that too much. But once that's taken care of, we can kind of do the same thing on this side. I know we have a whole bunch of pine resin. This doesn't need to be here. I feel very strongly that things should be symmetrical if at all possible. And this is going to be a good opportunity for us to just kind of echo what has gone on here. So I need to have somewhere to put pine resin. We have 1,200 storage because I built 6 of these. It's not going to be super difficult. I know this is not going to be the permanent spot, but not going to be super difficult for us to put one of these right here, just so we can get all this stuff taken out of these medium warehouses, make some space. And I think I'm going to try to stick to about 6 overall Motivatoriums. We'll see how that goes. And I think that should work out pretty nicely because one of those there, one of those there, and one of those here. If I can manage to patch that, 3 on this side, will continue to not be a problem in the slightest. We also have all of these medical beds that will need to be removed at some point or modified or put somewhere else. You know how things go. But now we have a drought coming in 3 days. It is day 6, so this is going to be one of the longer possible temperate cycles. Now take a look at the height of the reservoir. We have essentially, what, 2 1/10 block worth of height across the entire reservoir, which honestly is fine because these don't have to be all the way up to the gills, so to speak, to pump. They just have to have water to pump. We've got a lot of water underneath all of this that is not being pumped and cannot be pumped. So I do think there's going to need to be some sort of mechanism to make use of that at some point. I'm not saying we need to build the giant thing that's going to, you know, bring water all the way back up to the top. It's just not really that feasible. But we do need to get as much water stored as we possibly can, as often as we can, which is why we are going to need to maybe be a little bit better about how these things are laid out. We do have all of these tanks right here, and I did discuss previously putting some additional tanks on top of this. You guys seem to be very receptive to that idea, but I think for the betterment of the beavers, getting our well-being up is going to make a huge difference, and any relatively small fashion in which we can do that, I think, is going to be worth pursuing. So while we are here, let's peel back layers here. There's nothing planted on this one, and I think this is going to be a good enough place to have some cassavas going. We actually don't even have any tubeways on this level at all, which I thought for sure we'd already taken care of. This is our eggplants. For right now, I'm just going to leave this alone. This is, of course, cassava everywhere. This is all of our canola. This is all of our soybean. This is all of our corn. And this, of course, is trees. So it follows that this should be cassava. Or not cassava, kohlrabi. So all we have to do to really make this a thing is just lay out our farms slightly. Okay, well this, sheesh, I can't even talk. This level is different. This is an open hole because I had a forester here. We probably could close that up. How about to follow what's going on here? I have a farmhouse in this square, and I have one here, one here. I have one here, and that's just because of how this was laid out. So, to that end, I'm going to take this out. Going to place this here. Going to place this here. I'm going to flip that side so it has a little bit more range toward the corner. And then this here is probably going to be fine too. Remember, we have to have 675 with this cut out at the center. That's going to mean we probably are going to have to do probably about half of this level, because we have a big chunk cut out. And if we have extras that don't get, you know, harvested, who cares? Not that big of a deal. The math here also says we need 19 farms for it, but I know that is taking into account minimum well-being and all that other stuff, and we're at 25, which isn't crazy high, but it's definitely not 0. So, all that to say, it's time for us to start planting. I need to make some provisions for at least a couple of tiny tubeways. We do have this one here. I'm going to put one, I suppose, here and here, just in front of here, and I'm just going to keep the paths. It doesn't matter. We have so much extra space. It just really is not really worth pursuing that much. So these do require the overhangs. We have only 88 metal blocks, so that's going to be a concern for at least some time, but I did go ahead and reserve the space for these tiny two-way stations, and all we need to do now is just plant. But we have this corner here that is not going to be usable. Actually, you know what? This no longer needs to be here. I can take these out. I'm about 99.9% sure. Yeah, there we go. Remember what we did down here? We have a campfire and we have a campfire. That's going to be a simple way for us to get a couple more of those in. Just get that popped in there. And we do have pretty good coverage on these. Where? Yeah, but keep in mind, we're a little more than a third toward our eventual population goal. We're going to need to be ready. That includes putting 3 over here, which is what I've done for the rest of these things here. So that will go there. That'll go there. That'll go there. You already know how this goes. I'm just demonstrating the process for all of this. This corner piece, I think I had as something else. No, I had this actually go... Oh, I've got the path on the wrong... Okay. Well, see, this is why, folks. This is why you always check before you commit to something. Because you may have made a horrible mistake that you would love to back out of before it's way too late. No, get that out of here. Alright, so that is going to be another place where we can have a tiny two-way station when the time comes. But I really wanted to make sure I got these 5 campfires in place first. Now it is kohlrabi time. So what I'm going to do, just for the benefit of, you know, all these beavers here, I'm just going to plant all of this. And that's just going to be that. It's probably way more than 625, but I don't feel like sitting here and counting. Oh, it's 625. It's 75. There we go. Correct numbers. I don't really feel like counting, so we're just going to let them do what they're going to do. And now we're out of beavers. So you know what that means. It means I should have clicked and dragged this thing. But I got to find somewhere to put even more of these. Pine resin-wise, again, we're doing totally fine. I'm concerned that I now have more than the maximum capacity of that single storage for pine resin. Maybe that means we're not using enough of those. But at any rate, I'm going to have to locate a couple more places. I don't want to grow too quickly because, you know, bad stuff happens, but I can put 2 there. That'll help, and as we get our well-being up, it's going to sustainably increase the population. 1 piece at a time. So how are we looking here? Okay, those cannot start because I don't have anything set. Click, please, and thank you. Got started. So we have mushrooms, we have algae. The mushroom recipe is 8 days, and the algae recipe is 12. Right now, this is where we are growing all of our, or processing all of our mushrooms. The algae is going to be somewhere else, so these are going to be doing mushrooms. And we are going... Okay, well, that's a completely different sentence. Anyway, moving on. Let's grab that out, and they can go across. They don't need this. Let's just get this mess out of here. And I have, see, that starts 1 block inside of that. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not making a stupid mistake. So that will go there. That'll go there. That'll be a nice start for all of that stuff. Pop in that right there. Pop in that right there. This will need to have a platform here. Ah! See, I made a mistake. Fortunately, it's easily fixed. Just pop that in there. Give me a double on top. Yep, and then give me a triple on top of that, and we'll be all good to go. No harm, no foul. This, of course, is going to get attached to a regular power shaft. This is going to just get dragged across there. And that should give us some power for these things. We'll put in this mess here. And just like on the other side, I will put in a couple of these scratchers. And then our little fire pit thing. So that, I think, is going to be very, very good. We have a tremendous opportunity to get some good well-being points kind of early on, relatively speaking. I'm going to take this out, which is going to allow me to take this path out, which is going to allow me to build the rest of it. I didn't need to take that one out. Going to allow me to build the rest of this. We do need to be mindful that these take gears, and we're still not making enough gears. We're going to have to build some more of those things. You know how it goes, so rotate. Get that in there, and then just for right now, so everything can be connected, let's pop in a very simple power shaft, not that one, power shaft jog there. And now I think it's going to be time for us to, yeah, just for the benefit of, you know, things actually getting produced. Put that there. Put that there. Make those a priority. Eventually this will catch up. It's just we're building a lot of stuff that has gears right now. And that's the way it goes. Now, good news is hydroponic gardens are doing their thing. We will need to have our storages right here. Keep in mind that we do already have a storage. That is so hard to see. For raw mushrooms and for fermented. So these are just here because I needed something to fill the space. And I thought this would work fine. Just have a couple more of these. I don't think we're going to need to have a ton of these absolutely everywhere. But for what we're doing right here, this is totally okay. Maybe we can put some other items in the rest of these. Because you know we have to have 40 of them. But keep in mind, we can stack these. And stack we will. And guess what can go on top of this? That's right. We can put tanks. I don't know that I'm going to commit to that exactly yet. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Because I'm trying to make stuff that is, you know, it's functional, but it also doesn't look completely stupid. There is some amount of stupidity that is going to just have to be conceded with this. Just at a basic level. I don't think I want to have all of these go at every single level here. So I will run in a little bit of ladders here and there. Just so we have some access to something that'll help these guys get going. But having water readily accessible near here just makes sense because these are consuming water, you might as well. So to do 40 of these, if they're stacked 3 high, which of course we can go higher, if they're stacked 3 high, we're going to need to have like 13 of these. 13 of this going all the way down here, which is not going to be really that possible. It's actually 13 and then one more. Assuming we actually do need 40 of them, which I have no reason to believe that that's incorrect. I just feel like we're going to be okay if we don't have everything completely satisfied, but if we can make it happen, we should probably make it happen. Now is also a good time to think about what else we're going to have to do to get this path connected here. I know we have that access through there. They can just go down and then come back up. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Obviously, this is going to get fixed at some point. We just have to, you know, be able to do it. So none of this is getting power right now. It's not a big deal, but it will be if this does not get finished. Oh, these are not prioritized by haulers. Let's do that. Let's get that taken care of right away. And we do already have fermenters over here, but remember, we've already built everything out on this side. So we don't need these at all. Not a single one. Fermenters at least. So that's that one, that one, that one. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. The way this pathing is set up, these are already just serving as power shafts. So we don't necessarily need to get rid of them yet. But I can pause these and we can send those beavers to do other jobs. Which, you know, pretty helpful thing. Definitely necessary. So that will take care, I am all turned around. That will take care of, like I said, these 3 crops just right here, right off the bat. The kohlrabies don't have to be processed. So all that leaves for processing with the food, mangrove fruits also don't need to be processed. All that leaves for processing food is corn rations, eggplant rations, algae rations. And as far as those are concerned, corn rations are going to require 4 food factories. Eggplant rations are going to require 4 food factories. And algae rations are going to require 2 food factories. And we are going to have to build additional oil presses. The algae rations are going to require 9 of those. And the eggplants are going to require 9. So I need to build another 18 oil presses in addition to all these food factories. It's not going to be a big deal. Should be totally fine. I think it's... I don't know if I want to commit to doing that in this episode, because I am going to have to move a whole lot of stuff around to get that done. But I really like the idea, like what we did here with these extra pumps. I really like the idea of keeping all of the production kind of in the center here, and then having some living recreation around the outside, as one does. So that leaves us this space here to have 10 food factories, which we already have 6. We need 4 for 2 of the crops, and then 2 for the last one. So 10 of these. Keep in mind, same size roughly as the large tank. Two of those are equivalent to 3 of these, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 this way. And then we just have to figure something else out to, you know, offset this depth or something. Point being, we could pretty much make that work. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, so on and so forth. Build some sort of U-shaped thing. It's not going to be that hard. We can easily do that right here. And then the oil presses kind of in the middle here, and then storage either below or on top of that, depending on how we want to do it. Should be fine. The biggest hurdle on that is going to be seamlessly transitioning the space so that things don't just grind to a screeching halt. So some of this stuff, I feel like, because we have the two-ways especially, these layers that don't really have a lot of stuff planted could be very good opportunities for us to utilize the outlying areas for some storage. Like this level here with the eggplants. Unless we want to plant more eggplants, which, hey, I don't think there's, you know, ever a reason not to want to... do I seriously only have a single farmhouse for this? I was supposed to have more farmhouses. Did I just forget? Yeah, I guess I did. Okay, well, you know what? It's a good thing we're taking a look at this, because I would never have thought. I guess I'll just put a couple more here. I know they can't reach everything, but this does help, and it's kind of spread out. How did I have this? Okay, that was right there. That was in the middle there. That was offset. Why? There had to have been a reason that was offset. I guess this is fine. I guess. But what I should probably do is I probably should take that out. It doesn't really matter. Take that out. Flip the doorway. Just get rid of these plants here. That's not accessible to a path, really? Oh, there's no... Okay, we're going to have to fix that in a second. Anyway, what I was getting at. Put that one there. So, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it's not 9 or 10 or whatever the number was, but it is something. So we do have this that had to go underneath all of that nonsense. Easy thing to do. And again, I know these things take resources that we don't necessarily have in abundance. But it's easy. It's easy enough to just do this. Ah, that's where the steel bridges went. I was looking for those with the Emperor Pulse playthrough the other day. Good to know. We're not going to use those here, like I said. So that'll get those connected there. I think we can probably just kind of leave this alone. It is always good to take a look-see at what you are working with. Do what you can with what you have. That's what we always end up doing. I'm just going to pop that in here. I know it's not perfect, but it's going to have to be good enough for what we are doing. There's just so much damage occurred as a result of me having to disable the mod and reset everything, and it was a whole time. It was sure was something. Oh, I had this connected all the way up the backside too. Maybe I should do something about that. Was that going all the way up here? I don't remember. I think that was going all the way down and then just coming straight up. You know what? I don't hate this. Let's I know I have very limited resources to actually do this, but let's just take our time here. That connects to... Oh, this used to be a station. Okay. Well, that's kind of the whole kingpin to the whole operation there, huh? Alright, so this is the first level this actually has to connect to. So vertical tubeway there, vertical tubeway there. Oh, that's already right there. Do I have the rest of these levels? No, it's just that one. Alright, well, I'm honestly still just going to do this. Is this going to get the right level there? I mean, I think you guys can forgive me if this is kind of stupid. Because at this point, it is honestly just more important for this to work. than for it to be absolutely perfect. We all have way too much going on in our lives to be, you know, losing sleep over this. Alright, so that's going to go there. That's just going to be a regular path. Just make it nice and easy. I don't know why I didn't have this connected this way. It really just should have always been the way that I did this. And it very well could have been. Kind of, maybe. You know how this goes. That will go... Ah, I forgot that's there now, so this has to go around this way. Just easiest. Again, not the most optimal setup. I don't think anyone would disagree there. Why did I do it like this? Because I didn't have terrain there and I just didn't want to worry about it? I guess that must have been what it was, because this just doesn't make sense otherwise. And then that can, you know, we can go and get rid of that at some point. Ah, okay. Okay, this is a remnant of a different type of layout here. Well, this is still how I'm doing this everywhere else, so there's not really a great reason to stop doing it that way. Why did I do that way? Oh, there's all sorts of weird, archaic reasons why this kind of nonsense is happening here. It's fine, we'll just get this hooked up. Come on. That does have to have some sort of a pathway attachment there. And I do want to repair some of this terrain. It's just one of those things. One of those things you just kind of have to, you know, do what you got to do. That goes in there. Get that double. Get that attached. And then, yeah, see, this is where this gets to be a little dicey. But I think we can make this work pretty well, assuming we actually, you know, get this stuff figured out. I'm going to leave this as a regular platform in case I want to have that two-way go all the way around the outside. But as it sits now, I think that's going to be about as good as it's going to get. I will build a temporary bridge just to get to this side from here so we can, you know, actually utilize all these connections. It's going to be a while before they can build this anyway. You already know. You already know. That's, of course, not finished because this hasn't been built because they don't have any treated planks. And, oh, I only have one of these going. All right, well, I have the extra beavers now, so there you go. And now, folks, it is time for us to enter Turbo Time-Lapse once again and just get a whole bunch of stuff finished. I know we have this whole backlog that I just created, placing things around, but we need to get power going back to the food refinement areas. And then once they've gotten most of this stuff taken care of, we are going to want to start on our food processing over here on the left side of your screen for our remaining 3 crops. So we'll let them do their thing, and I will check back in with you in just a moment. Alright, so you can see we got to 33 well-being at some point during this time lapse. And we do have Motivatoriums, we do have some fermented mushrooms, and we're now at a point where we can kind of start continuing this just over and over and over and over. For right now, I'm only going to do 3 because I can't really do anything here until I put more terrain in. But this is going to allow me to put another stack of 3 of these hydroponic farms here. Hydroponic garden, I guess. Technically what the game wants to call it, so I probably should use the right terminology there. So mushrooms all the way up. Give that the extension on the path there. Put in here, here, here. And then in terms of the raw mushrooms, I doubt we're ever really going to be overproducing these, so we probably don't even need more than one of these here. So we do have some space if we want to try and get creative with some of these other well-being items. Mud bath is always an option. We just have to power it, which would not be very difficult. All we'd have to do is just have the power come over this way. So I think what I'm going to do... Maybe I shouldn't rush into this, because I do want it to look nice. Just have to have somewhere, somehow, a way of making this blend in. I guess this is something I could ask you guys. This episode is starting to get a little bit long in terms of not wanting to add too much more stuff before we finish up. Yeah, I'll let you guys weigh in on that, what you'd like to see here. Again, we're not going to need more than 1 or 2 of these medium warehouses. I just want it so that these beavers don't have to go all the way over here to get rid of their mushrooms. So that's looking good there. 40 of these, like I said, is going to be 13 stacks of 3 plus 1. And this right here is, we're not going to have room for 13 stacks. We got 1, 2, this would be 3 here, this would be 4, this would be 5, this would be 6, this would be 7, this would be 8. 9 would be all the way to the edge here. So if we instead did stacks of 4, it would be 10. That's still not quite enough. If we did stacks of 5, it would be 8, which is a much more achievable width-wise deal here. So if I were to do that and I had this offset the same amount from this corner, which we still need to put a stack of ladders here at some point, then that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, no thumb wars necessary. We'd have the, there you go. We'd have this 2-block wide gap in between that we could use for other stuff if we came in from this outside. And I think that would work out splendidly. So we would have this come out to here, and then just go straight up. And I wouldn't have to have another thing here. This actually wouldn't fit super nicely the way I have this set up now. I don't know. There are all these things to consider. I guess we could be content with this. Let's check out, because these all 4 have been running for a while. Let's check and see how many of these guys are actually using these. Okay, we're at almost 100% coverage, and that's including all the beavers actually, well, for the most part, working. We have 1 beaver who doesn't have anything to do because I don't have enough jobs available. So I think this should be okay. If I put in 4 more on these other corners, that should be fine. Which, the way this is set up, assuming I have to indent this at this corner, which I don't have to do, by the way. Let me just... It helps for me to visualize this, so give me 1 second here. So 1 going into there, 1 going into there. You know what that... Oh, yeah! Yeah, you know what that lets me do? That lets me come over here, and then I can have a mud bath here and here, and then on this other side, exact same. I know this is not technically centered. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. But I can put one of these guys here. That will give me an opportunity to just have a ladder go all the way up. Come on. All the way up here. Very, very nicely. Keep in mind, when we're putting in all of our other stuff here, I said 8 stacks means that these 2 middles would be open here. And this is in one of those middle segments, so we'll be okay regardless. We're not going to have 40 hydroponic farms for the algae, but I just think it's going to look so much nicer to have that way. This will, of course, conduct power just fine. You know what I'm going to do? I hate to keep just modifying this for what might seem like stupid reasons. But it's just going to make so much more sense to do that way. So back up we go. All the way. And then this here is just going to need to have an elevation. Remember, I cannot sink this into the ground because the ground is 1 block deep. Not going to go over too terribly well. Let's take these out. And I can go ahead and put 1 more of these mud baths here. So that's going to be a pretty good start. No real reason to be super upset about how this is set up. We will, of course, have to continue moving other things around. This is my only dynamite storage. Yes, it is. Okay. That's going to happen. I don't even really need dynamite anymore in the first place. I think maybe the mine could use... No. Oh, I always forget. I always forget these recipes when they change. Oh, well. So let's talk about the algae rations. Yes, we haven't started actually doing this yet. I guess I probably should start laying that out as like the last thing we do today. But 26 hydroponic farms. Obviously, we're not going to need to have 10 stacks of 4 or 8 stacks of 5 to get to 26. It is a little bit less easily divisible. But if we have 5 stacks of 5 and 1 extra, that would be fine. If we have 6 stacks of 4 and 2 extras, That would be fine. If we have 8 stacks of 3, then that would be, well, 8 stacks of 3 plus 2 more probably would be the most elegant solution. And it would also match a little bit better with what we have going on here. So I think that's probably what we should go for. So that is going to be that whole mess there. Let's do a 6x1. I did have this going all the way. I did, yes, okay. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. And then just to make sure we have everything we need here. Oh, I get so messed up with all these extra things that I shouldn't. 5x3. Oh, that's the other thing I'm not supposed to be using. I know, I have to be good. I have to be good and not do that. Hydroponic garden. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this right here is 12. We'll double this to get 24 and then add 2 more to get to 26. Just set all these for algae. I do hope you guys are, if you don't like it, you can at least tolerate it, because it's the most visually congruent way I can think of to lay this out. Of course, you probably do have other ideas, and I encourage you to share those. Not going to guarantee I adopt everything or anything, but I do always like to hear what you guys are thinking about. Let's do one more to get this lined up here. And then bring this path out all the way here. And like we had over here, we're not going to need to have a tremendously huge storage for the raw products. It's just, it makes so much more sense to just have something here. So I'm going to have this be our storage for some raw algae. Just like we did, I guess I could do 2 of them. Yeah, it's just going to be easiest. Just to match what we had there. Doesn't mean that's where it's going to stay. This is just what we have. And that should be fine. So this is technically not quite half. I don't have room on this side to put another one. So I should probably, at the very outside, have that extra one. I think that would be the best way for that to appear there. Let's get ladders here. Come on. There we go. Then drag this all the way across. All the way across. I guess I technically don't need that there, but it's fine. I'll just leave it. Who knows what I might end up having to build up on top of there. For this to go up to 5, which I will go ahead and start doing here, that's going to be 4. That's going to be 5. Why don't I turn them around to face this way? Because this way everything is just really nicely laid out, very consistent. And I think we can all appreciate that. And if not, well, then appreciate it, because it's cool. Alright, so that's going to get that connected there. Again, everything nicely set up. I do have to do one more on this side before the half, quote-unquote, is done. But that's going to require a little bit of terraforming, and we're far enough into this episode where I don't really want to mess with that at this point. But that's going to be producing. That's going to be producing as soon as they get around to it. Oh boy, oh boy. Now we get to this mess. We have food storage over here available, and it is very full, relatively speaking. So if we were to just completely, just send this whole thing to the Shadow Realm, it's not going to be a huge deal, so long as we can replace the production quickly. And I'm not sure we can really do that right now, just because we are kind of low on a few critical resources. It might not look like it, but 200 metal blocks, especially when we're building all this, we're going to run out pretty soon. The treated planks constantly underproducing. It's just the way it goes. So, in the interest of episode quality and not rushing through just to get something accomplished, I think I'm going to put this off to the next episode, just so we can take some time to do it right, make sure it looks good, because while I do really want to get this series wrapped up, I don't want to rush through it just so it's done. We've spent so much time trying to make some cool stuff, it would be a shame to just throw it all into the middle of nowhere just because we want to be finished and move on to other stuff. So I think we can hopefully all agree on that. But very, very good to get production started on the mushrooms and the algae eventually when they get to that. The mud baths also will be a great thing to have access to. I think what's going to make the most sense here is to actually take this out here and make this into a ladder. So that way I can put in a small pile right here in which we may store dirt, set to obtain, just so these guys can, you know, have a little bit easier access to that. It doesn't have to hold all the dirt forever. It's just an easier way to have it right next to where it needs to be. And just move on from there. So, before we leave, I do want to round up my questions to you. First of all, these 2 deep spaces here that do have to be this way because of the overhang on top of the Motivatoriums. What would you like to see here? We do have the option, like we discussed, to put mud baths there, although with... Come on. With these, we're going to have 4 here, we're going to have 4 on the other side. I could easily, you know, put a couple more elsewhere. And I could even put some more up here. Just let me know if you think that would be cool. We also have 2x2 frog statues. I could pop in a detailer or 2. A couple of other well-being things. Rooftop terraces. Also a pretty good candidate, either just on the ground here or on top of some medium warehouses. Decorations-wise, we do have the Torii gates. We have the lanterns we can do stuff with. All these other things. And then monuments. We haven't actually, to my knowledge, built monuments. Yeah, we have none. So we have 2x2 monuments in the Labor Monument and the Flame of Unity. Those are all very good options. We also, since this area is generally powered, we should be able to put tributes to Ingenuity in a couple spots. Although to cover the entire map, we really only need 1, because all the beavers are going to be walking through the middle more or less, but there's no power in the middle. So I'm not opposed to putting in a couple of these, except that can't be built at that height or that height. It can at that height, and it cannot at that height. So the highest I could actually place the tribute to Ingenuity is, it looks like, this height here, which is 3 above this. Well, I guess this bears an interesting question. That can't be built. That can't be built. If I already tried this one... Oh, I only have 1 more. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what can go on top of this. It's going to look really stupid, but we could put those up there. Okay, the beaver bust is too tall. Beaver statue's definitely going to be too tall. Bell is too tall. Lantern's obviously too tall. Oh, the answer is so obvious. We have roofing pieces. That's absolutely what should go up there. And it's not really that complicated, but I guess we could at some point put those up there. So, yeah, again, I want to know what you guys want to see here. Same thing applies to over here, but that it can be the same question. That's totally fine. Other than that, I know there's at least a couple of you that want me to fill this in with some of the more pumps. Just detonate these while we're here. I probably will. It's just one of those things. We're going to have to do what we're going to have to do. And then, if you have any ideas for this area, I already kind of detailed some of that stuff. But of course, I would love to hear your input, and I am absolutely open to anything you got. Can't promise I'm going to do it, but I will take everybody's suggestions into consideration at least. But yeah, I think this is where this one's going to have to end, folks. I really appreciate you guys watching this series. I know a lot of us want this just to be done, but like I said, I'm committed to not just insert whatever word you want to say to represent, not giving a full or at least solid effort to concluding it correctly. So I really appreciate the support. Beard Boosters, you already know. Everybody else, these folks have directly subsidized the channel, or indirectly, I guess, if you got a gift membership, but I still care about you all the same. It is not possible to do this every single day. With the relatively small size the channel is, it's still a tremendous amount of support, and I'm very, very thankful for it. But those folks make it possible to do it without taking sponsors on this channel, and just having fun playing the game the way we want to play it, and not have to worry about, oh, well, we can't make any more episodes of this because the algorithm didn't like it. We can have fun just doing what we want to do. And then stuff like the Roller Coaster Tycoon videos that YouTube in general just really doesn't seem to want to promote. But I know I really love the game, and all the people who watch those videos are so happy to see those episodes. And that's what's most important to me. So those folks make it possible for us to just do what we want to do with minimal other nonsense. So I'm always going to be thankful for that, and I'm always going to recognize them. That being said, it's time for us to end this episode, so whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we will see you again soon. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.